Thanks for joining us for another episode of Already Won, a Sports Friends podcast. Each week, Coach Ben and Coach Kyle share their insights, interview special guests, and offer some extra words of wisdom. The victory is ours, because we've already won.
Hello and welcome to Already Won, a Sports Friends podcast. I'm here as usual, your host, Ben Wildman, here with Kyle Epps.
Mad Dog. Whew, whew. Who let the dogs out? I don't know. I don't have dogs. I have cats. Why am I the mad dog and I have cats and you're the wildcat and you have a dog?
People have to go back and listen to why you got the mad dog nickname. My name, Wildman Wildcat, that's how I got mine. But good stories around that. Kyle, are you enjoying the bit of summer sport? Euros are finished. We're still going to talk football today, though, right?
Yes, we are. I've been playing some golf, playing a lot of golf, trying to catch up to the Ben Meister, trying to get out of the woods and get off the beaches and get onto the greens, into the cup. It's going to come next year. I'm going to be the champion of the world.
Out of the woods into Tiger Woods. But yeah, and we have got the Olympics next week coming up as well. And there's football there as well, right?
Did the U.S. qualify? I'm sure they did. I know they did. I follow them religiously.
They're going for gold. They're going for it. They're going for gold. You guys win a lot of golds, but I don't know if you win it in football. But anyway, hey, look, we're talking about football today. Who have we got coming in, Kyle, this week?
We've got Peter Koo, who is the general secretary of Life Football Club. He's a good friend. I mean, we keep in touch through chats on the phone or whatever, but I think I followed him through his rise from when I met him when he was at Liberty University to now that he's taken the team into the Cambodian Premier League. So it'd be good stuff to hear from him.
Cambodian Premier League. I'm looking forward to it. Well, this team is based in Sihanoukville in Cambodia, which has some great beaches, by the way. But in this professional football team, was born out of association with Life University, right? And it's something that they established in 2006. And we're going to hear a little bit more about the vision and mission about what they're doing, right? So excited about what he's going to share and looking forward to dive into some good topics around education in particular, right? That's our topic for this week, Mad Dog, right?
Yep, you betcha. Get an education, kids. Get an education.
Listen to Already Won, you get an education. There we go.
Are we starting a university too? The Already Won University. AWU. Awoo. Well, I think Peter's here. We better bring him in before we get lost.
Let's bring him in before AWU takes over. Woo!
All right. Let's get him.
All right. Without further ado, let's welcome this week's guest, Peter Koo.
Peter, welcome.
Hello. Hi, guys. Thank you very much for your time.
Long time no see.
Yes, very, very long time no see.
Great. Ben.
Well, Kyle, Kyle, we're going to always start. You know Peter already. Others don't. So let's, can we find out a little bit more about Peter by asking him some quick fire questions?
Peter, you're going to get onslaughted here with some rapid fire questions. There's no wrong answers. The right answer is whatever comes out of your mouth. Of course, we may debate on those wrong answers. Like, I have my preference, Ben has his preference, but let's just find out yours. So these are just rapid, one single answer, either this word or that word. So when we say it, just choose it. And you don't have to give an explanation now, but maybe after we'll have a debate, but maybe not, because I know you'll choose all the ones I like. All right, you ready?
All right, sounds good, yeah.
All right, here we go. Drum roll. You can hear the drum roll, the fanfare. Rice or noodles?
Oh, rice.
Oh, okay. Here we go. Tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Oh, Ben, did you hear that? He said coffee. Oh, good job. Ketchup or mustard?
Ketchup.
Okay. Now, here you go. This harkens back to maybe your time in the States. Tacos or pizza?
Tacos.
Wow. It is Taco Tuesday. We got to throw it out there. And last one. This is one that, I don't know. Hot dog or cheese board?
Hot dog.
Okay. All right. We didn't win the Wisconsin fans, but, hot dogs are good. Ben loves a good hot dog, apparently.
I love a good hot dog. Are they big in Cambodia? That is the question.
Are they big in Cambodia? Hot dogs big in Cambodia?
Hot dogs? No, definitely not.
Oh, good.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, we're looking forward to getting to know you a bit more, Peter. But our first question, our podcast is called Already Won. What does that phrase mean to you?
Yeah, so I think there are two aspects. One, obviously, the spiritual side, and then one on the I would say the work side. For what already won means to me is, in terms of football, when we talk about football, it's all about preparation. The game is won not on Saturdays or Sundays. The game is literally won a few months back. That's how I've seen it, and it's all about preparation. And so when we're talking about already won, to me, the first thing that comes into mind is it's all about the preparation. It's all about the, sitting down, working on the documents, doing the boring things sometimes, and meeting with people, all the background noises that people don't see. And then on the game day, if you win, that's what you can say, you've already won. And I think that's the result. And then on the spiritual side, I can definitely testify that, at the end of everything, the Lord is victorious, and we know that from the scripture. And I think we're very caught up with the world and anxiety and everything, and especially with the hard work. I think it's a reminder to say it's already done. It's already won. So, yeah.
So your current role, you're the General Secretary of Life Football Club. Tell us kind of how that works in a day-to-day, how that works long-term vision, and how you kind of got from Cambodia Premier League, or is it level 2 to the Premier League?
Yeah. So just to kind of give you a brief understanding of the situation, I was in the States, and then I moved over, came back because the federation asked our school that my parents were running, and they said, hey, why don't you guys start a club? So they kind of started it, but then it was the right timing. I was able to come back to Cambodia, and everything began. The process, the crazy nights and crazy work days of just sitting down, starting with every little detail. So including like, where do we get the water? Where do we get the ice? What about the receipts? So my job description, there's no job description. Is you have to do everything. And so that's how it began. But as of now, what it means to be a general secretary is being a visionary, being the coordinator between the league and the club, and then also interacting with the players. With the transfers, you interact with that as well. And a lot of the operational, the administration, and the technical side. So you oversee both. And then with the Cambodian Premier League, we joined the Cambodian League 2, second division. And then thankfully and humbly, we were able to achieve something that was what I thought was impossible, was to get the promotion and also to win the League 2 championship.
Well, we're definitely going to have to dive into that a little bit more, because you're going to be your first season in the Cambodian Premier League next season. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, well, we'll dig into that in a bit later. But tell us a little bit about, for the listeners who don't know much about Cambodia, tell us a little bit about the history a little bit. I mean, I've been over there before and kind of visited Phnom Penh and went to the killing fields, kind of the stuff that happened in the late 1970s. And that really had an impact on me, kind of hearing that. And so if you could share a little bit around that, that would be great for people listening.
Yeah, so Cambodia is a very resource-rich country. Back in the day, in the 1900s and so forth, a very prominent Asian country. However, through the Civil War in the 1970s, the country really went through a difficult time, and the effect of it continues on today. And so what we're looking at in football terms is that the development of what it was happening before had to be kind of stagnant, and now is starting to run. And so, that's the situation of Cambodia. And as you talked about the Civil War, and it's still such a big part of the history, still such a big part of everyday life here, which is why the Cambodian Premier League, what it's really focusing on now is development. So how can the Cambodian people expect football to be rising, and which is why the club and also the league itself, they're really trying to develop, and the national team, they're really working on the development side. Yeah,
it's great. I think it's it's when you look beyond just the game and you try to bring in, incorporate history and as well as the potential for the future. And I know you spent some time in the States at Liberty University. I think you were instrumental in Malik Willis coming to the Liberty team, and now he's in the pros. I mean, he may not directly say it, but I think all the videos, all the media stuff that he was getting, as he was being recruited, that probably helped. We'll give you 10%. If he can give you 10%, that would be great. We'll take Ben and I'll take each percentage of that, so that's 2%. So 8%. But so your time in the States, and then how. You said you were kind of brought back to help out with the team at the university. So how did that work with your, what did you learn from your time in the U.S. to your time to transitioning and helping with starting up the club and through the university?
Yeah. Thank you very much for that. And appreciate the appreciation that most media people don't get. So actually, before I went to Liberty, I already had the dream and vision of starting an athletic department at our university. So the university that my parents started in Cambodia. And so in my mind, it was always there. So even at Liberty, as I was studying, as I was doing my internship, I was like looking at different things. I'm like, oh, how do you do this? How do you do this? So that I could learn and then bring it back to Cambodia. So yeah, I think the experience in the States, it was unbelievable. I think, first of all, the passion of studying sport management and the passion of working in the sports industry really grew because of the people that was surrounding me, the environment of it. How prominent sport is in the US. Everyone's crazy about sport. There's sport literally every week. And every season there's different types of sports. So I really grew the love of working in the sports industry. And I think I was able to continue that passion on in my studies and then with my internships and working mostly in the media side in collegiate football. And then after doing my master's in California, I was able to work in the NFL, in the media side as well. And so with that, I really learned so much about professional sports, what that means, how people interact, what the commercial side is, and how to run things just by observing. And then from there, when I came back, I was able to have that confidence. I think that was the biggest thing, having the confidence of, I know all these things because of all the people that taught me and all the environment that I was able to learn it from. So just utilizing all of those things. I didn't think I would start a football club. I thought it would be an athletic department. But yeah, I guess it switched over. Not everything's my plan, right? So it worked out that way, thankfully, yeah.
So good to hear. Well, I love just hearing about the vision, around enhancing education in Cambodia. Now, tell us a little bit, obviously as a Christian, what does that mean for you to kind of be part, we call it the greater game. So you've set up a football club, but we believe we're part of a bigger game, a greater game that's going on. What does that look like for you with your role that you're currently in the club you've got?
So with the enhancing of the education part, because we are an education institution while we run a football club, we really want to approach it where the players and the staff, and at least for me, I believe that being a leader is about building other leaders. And so that's essentially out of my own passion, and then also what the university really desires too. So we hope that even after football career, they may play professionally, some of them not even professionally, only in the youth level. They could utilize the education side to further on with their life. So hoping that it's not just the aspect of just the football, like you were saying. And then obviously when we talk about the spiritual aspect of what do we do day to day of impacting them, I think it's just really how we approach leadership to them, and then them being inspired by it, being really involved with the whole idea of, building the people up, becoming leaders. And then hopefully the vision is that once these leaders come up, whether Christian or not, that they will multiply the members of leadership further on. So one person comes up, and then there's another 10 from there, and then another 10 from there. So that's the idea of generational leadership, vision.
So you brought into the picture of your on your website, you have the vision and mission statement. I'll have it on the bottom of the ticker for those watching on YouTube. Sports Friends INTL. Get off your phone if you want. Sometimes go back and watch Peter's smiling face. But yeah, so you're talking about the vision and mission. So you linked up with you're building people up and trying to do that and trying to replicate that what you believe in other people. So how does that fit into the whole concept with the Life Football Club's vision and mission?
Yeah, I think professional people are really inspirational. And that goes with every type of career, not just in sports. You look at CEOs, you look at leaders around the world that are doing amazing things. And, they're very, very inspirational. The hard work that they put in, yet they're able to balance their life, yet they're able to continue to educate themselves, very personable, humble. And I think that's kind of where we want to approach it. The football club is a professional football club. We want to do it well, with excellence, with professionalism. We want to do it at a high level, compete, and never let the players and the staff members forget that in life you have to push, you have to challenge, you cannot be fearful. And so there's those two aspects. Okay, we're building people, but at the same time, the professional side, the football club is a resemblance of what the world is and how hard it is, but we can do it, and we'll do it together. And it's a platform for these people to become the leaders within that platform. Yeah.
Well, we'd love to dive in a little bit more. When you talk about the mission to nurture and equip an individual's potential, we have a lot of coaches that are listening. What does that look like for you guys? And I'd imagine the head coach of the team to nurture talent and passions and character. We're linked. All three of us are linked between, I guess, Brian Davidson, who has been on the podcast a little bit, who talks about how a coach is more than a coach.
A little bit.
Yeah, that's it.
Brian had the longest.
So, but what does it mean? How do you do that? Like, how does the head coach do that? And how do you practically do that? Is my question.
Yeah. Thank you very much for that question. The practical part is really spending time with the people around. Even as a general secretary, time management is very difficult. But I put my exercise time by practicing with the team. So when I'm with the team, I'm literally playing and practicing with them. And you're looking and watching out for the type of people, the type of characters, or the leadership within each of the members. So then when you notice something from each individual, then you pinpoint it out, and then you speak to them. Hey, look, I see a potential in you as a coach, for example. And then we talk to them, and then we ask them, hey, what do you think? Is this something that you're passionate about? They say, yes, we would love to. Then we provide them an opportunity to go and study a coaching license. So that's some practical aspect that we do. And what the other coaches do as well is really just teaching them from the basics, and then hoping that they would utilize those things for their future as well, whether as a coach or whether as a person, wherever they are in their career. So I hope that answers the question. I don't know if it was, but yeah, please.
Yeah, no, I think that does. I think building into that, I mean, you've seen these coaches, these players, as you say, you kind of work out with them and get a chance to mingle with them. Obviously you're probably instrumental in bringing them to or putting them on the team to begin with, and you want to see if they fit. So how does that work? Last year, the year before, as you developed, you saw the light. I don't know if you watched Welcome to Wrexham. Have you ever seen Welcome to Wrexham? I hope you guys are filming. As a media man, you must have been filming your own series. You got to build on this. But what did that look like, 2 years ago, last year? And then when you finally won and you were now promoted, I saw that you did a great job with the videos, the media. You made it look like you're going through the streets of London. I mean, the images that were coming out was conveying, I think, what your heart was feeling, what the players were feeling, and if not, the community as well, the province. So give us a little insight in the last couple of years and how you're going to pull into the new year, the new league?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think one of the best part about last year was the culture. So we were able to cultivate a culture that there's nothing that you can write on the paper. It's like, oh, we need this kind of culture. We need this. We never wrote it down. But the people that surrounded the environment made it possible. And so that was the coolest part. And for me, I had to utilize that from this last year. And during the season, I had to plan things for this next year. So around December, January of last season, even though we weren't like 100% that we'll get promoted, but in my mind, I was like, yeah, we're getting promoted. Like that was our aim. And so we were already planning the process. So in my mind, I was like, how can we continue this culture that we already have with the people, with the staff members, the Khmer speaking people, and go further on? We just need to add the right people in and equip more players that are able to cultivate the culture even more. And so we were able to do that this season. Thankfully, we brought in a Cambodian coach, and we did that purposely. We've had few foreigners that were very interested. And for me, although they have great CV and they're great people, it was very important that they were able to communicate with our staff, very important to communicate with our players. And so the head coach that we appointed, not only is he very, an expert in his field, but also communication is key, very good at it, also very humble, also very emotionally intelligent. And so that's kind of the pathway that we've approached it with. And yeah, the hard work continues. We want to continue the hard work. We have high standards. We don't want to be like, oh, since we're joining the top division now, we can be like just relax and be okay as an underdog. For us, it's not. We want to look towards 10 years, 20 years. So set the bar high. We work with excellence and yeah, try our best.
I really like that round culture. And if you look on your website, there's 3 words. I'm not sure if they're your main values, but truth, integrity, and love. And I think you described there about the culture. I mean, how do you foster that within the team, and how do you see it going next year? I mean, what often happens is when teams get promoted, you want to win more, and the culture can often become all about winning. So how are you going to continue to, foster this environment of truth, of integrity, and love next year in the Premier League?
Yeah, thank you very much. So in terms of the truth, we will continue doing what we do as we are a professional club, so religion is not something that we can outpourly do in public. But in terms of just personal mission that we have internally from each individual that are Christians within the club, we try our best to talk about the truth whenever we have the opportunity, more on the personal level. And then the integrity part is very important. We had to do several workshops about match fixing, about corruption, about you guys probably understand the environment that some places have. I'm sure, Kyle, you've seen a lot in the professional level as well. And so to combat that, we try to educate as much as we can. We also try to just provide that platform to speak openly about situations like this so that players, staff, coaches, and everyone have an idea of it, and that we can walk together as a club, as a professional club with integrity, doing things in the right way. We, even as myself, as a general secretary, especially as the leader, I would have to do even transactions and so forth. 1 cent cannot be done out of personal ambition or personal desire from the football club's account, for example, So little details like this, very important to input into our club, and that every staff members and everybody is transparent about this and has the integrity altogether. Obviously ups and downs sometimes, but yeah, we try to educate as much as we can. And then the last part, with the culture that we discussed about, love is very important. Just the smallest details like hugging a player is so profound. I don't think most people understand this in a professional level. Like just giving them like a high five like this, especially in the Asian culture. Not a lot of people are very familiar with this. A lot of it is just bow and you're not like very friendly sometimes. And people mention that. People here in Cambodia say, wow, like you guys are very friendly. And they're like, oh, you guys are very, very close to each other. And it's the small details like hugging a player, or even when they're sad, like instead of scolding them, saying, look, we got next game. Let's move on. Don't worry about this game. Let's move on. And so that's the little bits and parts of those three aspects, and also part of the cultivating culture that we try to input.
Yeah, that's big. I mean, just having a team that supports one another and not just playing for their own pride, their own glory, but for one another. And, knowing that someone's not going to scold them or swear at them if they miss a pass or miss a goal or something. Yeah. Now, I was in Nigeria just a couple of weeks ago, and you mentioned about, there were stories, not that it happened this time. I'm not saying anything like that, but, there's the owners or someone from the club would meet the refs the night before, and then the result was kind of meted out at that point, depending on how much, what you needed and how much they brought. And, that's always faults a team, but also the league, and if not the country, right? So you hear countries that have corruption and everything. So I know Cambodia is trying to fight off that and try to prove to the world that they've built this system up. But I also saw you went to the UK recently. Was there anything you did there? What was that trip about? Was it kind of helping to build up and see how you can implement that on your team and even in the various leagues in Cambodia? Yes,
sir. So for the UK trip, it was a little bit of a break for me too, kind of get out. But at the same time, a lot of it was about seeing, because I think Europe and South America, they do a really good job about the community aspect of football club. And so I really wanted to see what that's like, and personally observing it. And then the biggest thing was connections and networking, meeting with the people and trying to learn from them. So just the first thing was I had a connection in the UK. I reached out to him and said, hey, look, I really want to just learn as much as I can. What is there that I can do, even to go and volunteer on a few things, like at a football club or an event, I'm willing to just volunteer as a person. So yeah, I think a big part was just observation. What do they do well? What is it that makes football such a big part of everyone's lives every single day? And what I really got out of it was the community aspect, and how the community is the biggest part about that football club. And, we look at like clubs in like Birmingham, for example, or, Preston or, Liverpool, they identify themselves with those clubs. And then those clubs really make a huge impact for the community. And I really brought back with me, okay, we need to do the same thing. Our long-term project is not about, we need to spend money in order to buy big players and then win the trophy. That's not the only vision. But the vision is, all right, what can we do so that the community is part with the club? Because that is the whole sustainability project of our football club. And so that's what I brought out. And then the other part is, meeting with like someone like Stuart Jones at Blackburn Rovers, for example, with their youth academy. Excellent academy with amazing atmosphere and environment, even their culture in the youth level, and just learning from him. Like, what is individual development? What does that mean? And how to align the players from the youth academy all the way to the first team. So all of these little details, but also the bigger picture is what I brought out of it.
You didn't get to Gillingham, though. I mean, Ben, he's like one of the elite coaches at the Gillingham under 12 level.
Under 12s, under 12s, under 16s. No, it's fine. We're used to us people laughing at Gillingham and stuff. So yeah, I laugh at Kyle calling it Gillingham.
I love Gillingham.
Gillingham. There you go. It's still a professional environment, and it is interesting there about the power of, like you said, the community and stuff. And link it to that. What I love actually about what you're saying there, Peter, is that you're going somewhere to learn. And a lot of people who are probably listening to this podcast are here to learn, right? And I've learned just from listening to you, and about, you've talked about leadership, about the importance of observation. You've talked about the culture that you're trying to create. You've talked about that trip that you've just been on. Is there anything else you can share, like from a practical tip for those who are maybe coaches or involved in sports ministry? Is there anything that you can pass on practically, like a tool or advice that can help someone else who's looking to start something or do something like this?
Well, yeah, very, very much appreciate your kind words. And I would say be a little bit crazy. I know that's not what you want to hear, but be a little bit crazy, because if you're not crazy enough, like you don't want to do things. And so I just remember, even with our club, when we're starting off, like literally from nothing, not knowing anybody, I remember just being absolutely crazy and going around to different cities and just meeting with people, just reaching out to them and being like, hey, look, I want to learn. So I think that was the biggest thing, like, because I don't know, just being very vulnerable and going to them and be like, look, this is a project that we're starting. I want to learn from you. What can I learn from you? And then just, again, like being that crazy to reach out to people and doing things that most people would be like, that's crazy or unbelievable, and going for it. Because in our dreams, we never would have imagined we would have won the second division. But we were crazy enough, and we were able to do that. So I think we need a little bit of that in everyone who wants to do something like this. As you guys know, you guys are in football, and yeah, it's a crazy world. So yeah.
Well, we're going to wrap up, but we're going to ask you one last question. But I think, I still remember meeting you in I think it was Belgium airport, where you had guys come from the U.S.
Yeah.
And you were all relating your story about the visas, the passports, people running. Yeah. I mean, it was crazy how God brought you to Ghana. I think Brian kind of put together a motley crew of people. It was great to have different varieties and different types of people involved. And I just kind of always watched you from afar, and then after a couple of years visiting Liberty again and just kind of seeing you and greeting you again. So I've kind of watched you gradually in the last couple of years, and I've seen, just how God continues to guide and lead you. So as you look to next year, as you already are in next year, in a sense, you're preparing everything. What can we be praying for you? What are you thinking of next year? I mean, as you know, the podcast is already won, so you can just tell your team they've already won. We Ben and Kyle, Mad Dog and Wildcat are telling them they've already won. So, top of the table next year. But yeah, so what are you looking forward, and what can we be praying for you about?
Yeah, thank you very much. I love your guys' nickname. Please provide me a nickname as well. But yeah, for me, with the whole aspect of already won, I think last season I really struggled through a lot of pressure on myself, and then from, I think, just a lot of the people, especially in our community, in our province, because we've invested a lot of money, we've invested a lot of energy, and our staff members and players. So I don't think I was in the best place personally, and just a lot of just mentally unwell, and a lot of aspects in that area. So I think this season I've realized, look, like, stop being too much of that. And so I think that's where I need a lot of the prayer, is that, okay, it's already won, and it doesn't, whatever happens, it does happen. And I have to be okay with it and not be too harsh on myself or on other people, and really, just being okay. And already won, like you said, it's a good reminder. And so, if you guys could be praying for me in that respect and aspect, it would be very much, I would appreciate it very much.
Sure thing. Well, people can follow you on Instagram and Facebook. It's on the ticker below as well, so make sure people go and do that as well. But Peter, thank you so much for sharing all that you have, and we're looking forward to staying in touch, and particularly following that vision and mission that you've got. It does, it definitely does excite us, and we're looking forward to seeing what God's going to do through you guys next season.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ben and Kyle. Really appreciate you guys' time, and hope to see you guys again soon. Yeah.
Yep. Good stuff.
All right.
Thanks, Peter.
Cool. Thank you, guys. Cheers.
Good stuff, Ben. How'd you like Peter?
Very good. What a guy. That was a good person he brought in there, Kyle. Good friend. And honestly, I was really impressed by that. And that theme and thread of education all the way through. I really liked it. Did you enjoy it?
Oh, yeah. It was good stuff. Good to hear where he's at now. You know, like I said, I've been following him since I met him, 2015, so 16 or something. It was, yeah. So it's been great to see his life kind of to get to this level. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just from his context where he is. I mean, we've both been briefly to Cambodia, but in the 1970s, there was people who were in the middle class or had glasses or anything who was educated were killed, right?
Yeah.
So over 1 million people were killed, and most people were very highly educated, and the impact that had on the country has been huge. I mean, only being there briefly for just over a month, you can see that. But what they're trying to do is they're trying to, at the very top level of sport, trying to bring in education, right? And I thought that was really powerful. Was there anything that you particularly learned hearing that?
Yeah, no, I think it was like the education, just the building in. It's not just, you're building a strong team to win, and they have, but you're building in the whole player. You're really building up the whole vision. The mission is to have football players and leaders, for their province and the kingdom. So they set the goal for the team, but then they set it for the province, the city they're in, as well as the whole country. So I think it's a great holistic development, kind of like what Sports Friends is doing. I don't know, just saying.
Yeah, there was a lot of overlap. I mean, I really, really enjoyed some of the things he was talking about the leadership and about culture and things like that. I did really value the stuff he was talking about, the cultural piece. And I've got a quote, Wildman's Weekly Words, if we're going to drop it in.
Wildman's Weekly Words.
Here we go. We've got culture eats strategy for breakfast. Culture eats strategy for breakfast. I mean, their strategy could be, to get to the Premier League, but he talked about actually it was the culture that he created in that team. And he spoke about those 3 values about love, integrity, and truth, and how they're really important for him. So I thought those things were really good. And whether people are listening, they're a coach or like he was a general secretary, a leader, I think he was a learner. He'd went to the UK to learn from other academies. He'd obviously met you all over different places. And I heard someone once say to me, be a sponge, not a brick. Be a sponge.
How many Wildman's Weekly nuggets are we having here?
Too much. But a sponge, what does a sponge do, Carl? What does a sponge do? It just absorbs. Right?
Yeah,
it absorbs and it cleans, and it cleans as well. But it absorbs, and that can be a learner. But don't be like a brick, it's just hard and heavy, just like nothing gets it. Be a sponge, not a brick, eh? How about that, mad dog?
Wildman's Weekly Wisdom. We've got it. It's back, people. Words. Is it wisdom or words? I always forget.
No, it's all of the above. But you mentioned there's overlap between what he does and what Sports Friends does. Tell us a little bit about who we're going to hear today from our Sports Friends world.
So, recently the trip in Nigeria, we had a panel discussion with some of the coaches. So they talk about building into the lives, mentoring the lives of the players through education, through meeting with them, and just giving them advice. The church is there, the schools are there, but how does the coach relate to the player?
Thank you very much. My name is Samala Jeremiah Baba from Yobe State, Nigeria, and I come in contact with sport friends since 2009 in Yobe, Damatru. We were enlightened and taught about the issue of if you want to be a sport minister, you have to, people need to learn from you. I learned about living, leading, teaching, then coaching. I get to understand that before I start coaching, I have to live an exemplary life because I want to live a life of Christ for my children over there to emulate me or to follow my footsteps. So that has been my encouragement from them. And once in a while, we do call each other for motivation because we had so many challenges when it comes to mentoring people. So, and then I have Samaila from Pochiscom in particular. He's the one that I'm mentoring. Actually, it's amazing that even his parent was like telling me about him that they even classify him in the family that he's my son. That this my son is different from the family members, and I believe I used to tell them that is the Lord's doing, and all these things happens because my meeting with the sport friends, and he's one of my captain. I appointed him to be the captain of my team. That's the junior team, because I have two teams, the junior team and the ones that the senior team. That's the ones that are in the universities. That's 18 years and above. Then I have the ones that are 18 years, as in 7 years to 18 years. So I really thank God for the sport ministry. Sport ministry have impacted my life a lot, that I cannot even I don't even know where to start. So I pray that the Lord will continue to bless the sport friends and sport ministry entirely, to the glory and honor of His name. It's really encouraging, and we really thank God for the life of our coaches here, like Coach IC and Diko and Monday and the rest of them. Thank you very much.
Good stuff. I hope everyone got a little piece of something out of those words.
That's a great video. I tell you something, Carl. I am now going to keep one eye on the Cambodian Premier League next season, right? Will you be doing the same?
Oh, yeah, definitely. You got to see this, lived out in real time. Welcome to Cambodia.
There we go. I'll tell you what, I need another league to follow. I know my friends and my wife know I don't follow enough leagues, so I think it's important that I follow this journey as well. So we'll be definitely doing that as well. And you guys can as well follow that journey as well. But Kyle, what else do they need to do instead of just following the Cambodian Premier League?
Well, I heard from a friend who told their friends, who told their parents and their parents' friends, they've already won.
Thanks again for joining us on Already Won, a Sports Friends podcast. Please like, share, and subscribe on your favorite streaming platform.